All right, ladies and gentlemen, we are back and we are good to go. Team Kinguin and Puszek team going to be now headed face to face for a best of three for the Hitbox Stormgrounds EU number 2. Hosted here by Forecourt Jester and Mr. Zoya. And once more, as we jump into the draft, Zoya, Tomb of the Spider Queen is the first match of the best of 3.
It's just such a really well designed map. I don't think any map has ever hit the scene and everyone's like, I love it. It's perfect. This map's the only one that's done that. Sky Temple took some time for people to like. At first, people were like, "Oh, it's too snowbally." You get a lead early on and you win it, but now it's in a great spot. But Tomb of the Spider Queen, man, nobody doesn't like that map. Nobody specifically goes, "We're weak on this map. We don't ever want to play it." It's always a map that you see play on, and it's no surprise there.
All right, so a big difference from the last game series. The first ban from Kinguin is going to be Zagara. And now, as a second ban coming in, Puszek has almost forced their hand into a Zeratul, and that's a very common theme across pretty much every region at this point. If it's not going to be the Zeratul, Kinguin's going to be laughing to the bank to pick it up.
Yeah, they're definitely going to be wanting to snag him up. This looks like more of a standard draft, like with that first ban, than we usually see the Zagara getting banned out. It's if you look at any tournament data as of late, Zagara is 100% pick ban, has a great win rate. People, for a while, at least EU's always kind of had prioritization of her. At least she never really fell off completely. But in NA, it was only Templestorm that prioritized Zagara for a really long time. But now it's across the board. Zagara is one of the best heroes in the game.
Oh, wow. So they're actually going to say no dice to Kael'thas. So I have to see if Kinguin actually will capitalize on this and go for that Zeratul first pick. But, the Fire Mage is out. He wasn't a big priority in our last game series, though, either. So, very different drafting sequences coming in already.
Yeah, we saw this a bit last night in Templestorm versus Complexity. I know the metas are different, but when you let the Zeratul through, you guarantee yourself, oh, well, they're going to go ahead and first pick Leoric. So there's 3 heroes up right now. It's Leoric, Zeratul, and Jaina. Those are, and then of course the 2 that are banned. Those are the big 5 right now. And when you're a second pick, you don't ban Zeratul. It either gives you the option of getting both Leoric and Jaina, or it gives you the option of getting Jaina Zeratul, or any of that 3 combo. So it just depends on how afraid of you are the Zeratul. And Puszek clearly wasn't afraid of it. Are they willing to pick it though?
That's going to be a big question. So Leoric has a first. I mean, I've seen a lot of people, fast and loose with the hit points, with the death timers there on the Leoric. So I'm kind of curious to see what we're, the play style of Kinguin with that Leoric going forward. But as you said, Jaina, part of that top big picks right now, she is going to be the return here from Puszek. And this is their only other pick before bans coming into it. So will it be the Zera, or will it be something like a Johanna and a tank? Because the Johanna Jaina is a very fearsome combo.
Yeah, they could also lock in that support. They could get an Uther really on. We're seeing a big resurgence in Uther play, Divine Shield. People are getting better at just healing in general. So keeping that backline alive, super important. As well as the Uther helps counteract the Leoric post 20. Post 20 Leoric's death timers are obnoxiously short to deal with. And whenever you have him constantly rezzing on you, it's a pain. But if you have Uther with Redemption, it kind of evens out the fight.
A little bit, yeah. There's something to be said about, the lack of resurgence gameplay and now these new death talents coming back into it. It's an interesting way that the design team is going, but it will be the Johanna to go with the Jaina, so they are going to solidify that. Could even threaten into an Azmodan a little bit later on, but Kinguin, is this the chance? Is this going to be the double bruiser? The Leoric, the Zeratul, the Tassadar, anything to kind of go with this? Will we see a priority on a support here as well?
It just depends on where they're wanting to go with this composition. Double Warrior is really powerful. You can get the Abathur earlier on, so that was getting banned out as well. Abathur, Leoric, super strong in this meta. It's something that sometimes happens in NA. I don't know. I don't watch the lower tier teams too much in EU, but sometimes there's teams that just don't have a good Zeratul player, right? They're just not comfortable on Zeratul. The initial kits semi-easy. You blink in, you blink out, you do your damage. But the Void Prism is a very hard heroic to use. It can completely lose you fights at times. The power of it is knowing when to use it, and if a team's not comfortable with that, especially when the past month has been perma Zeratul banned, how do you practice it in scrims? How do you get better at your Zeratul? So maybe some teams are just afraid of picking them because they're not confident on them.
Well, so far he's not in this draft. Nazebo's now coming out here as well. If it's not a prioritization on Zagara, Nazebo has really kind of taken a second fiddle to that, especially on these smaller maps with Tomb of the Spider Queen. Like, his solo potential's good, his sustain potential's good. The longer he's undisturbed in a lane, the stronger he'll be later on. It's definitely a lot that you can say to that one. And, bringing the Gargantuan. The Gargantuan meta has definitely risen as the top way to go for him.
Yeah, he's really evaluating that push meta right now as Nazebo really good at that. And of course, with Kelth Offspan, there's not very many heroes have a late game, potential, right, where they get that power spike. You have Asmodan, who's not really played too much anymore, and then you have Nazebo, once you get that Leaping Spiders. And it will be double warrior style coming out from Team Kinguin.
Well, Leoric, classified as a warrior, sure, but I can't imagine that anybody here in these top echelons will run a solo Leoric. It's like running a solo Sonya for your tank. It's just he feels much better if he can just concentrate more on the damage potential, the bullying potential.
Yeah, it's really interesting to see how it will play out. I really like the double warrior. It's just so much in your face. It's a really powerful meta right now, and it will be an Asmodan ban. Interesting choice there from Puszek.
Yeah, that feels like a very weird choice from Puszek, because I figured that they were trying to set up for it. I mean, the Jaina Johanna Asmodan combo, that's the dream team for early stacks, for playing into the late game, for the big burst potentials, but they're the ones to ban it out?
We've seen in the past that I believe it was actually Kinguin. They used to ran triple warrior Asmodan.
Really?
And it was terrifying. Of course, not going triple warrior this game because they already have the Nazebo, right? They have to. I mean, they can go triple warrior Nazebo, but they couldn't do it with Asmodan because they already have the Nazebo. So maybe they're wanting to ban out just to avoid that. I've seen them run in the past, and maybe it's just kind of like a respect ban, like we don't want to give you this. But it will be Vala picked up by Puszek. Supports have not been banned; they haven't been picked. Both teams willing to get down to the wire for the supports. Will Puszek lock their support in now? Well, they're going to go for. I'd like to see Malf here, actually. I would like to see the Malf deny. Malf is so good with Double Warrior when you just get them in a full tranquility. It's just so much healing against such hard to kill targets.
Well, if actually my vote would have been Malfurion for Puszek at this point, because we don't have a huge amount of burst right now for Kinguin, and with Jaina already out, the Kael'thas out, Asmodan, there's no burst really. No huge dangerous burst by the end of it all. So Puszek actually could deal with the distributed damage and this kind of slower damage rates of Kinguin with that Malfurion right there. If it's not a Malf, it has to be the Rhaegar. It doesn't feel like they're going to go for an Uther here. Oh, okay, well, that being said, apparently I don't know their game.
Uther, he's just seeing Surgeon slightly. Divine Shield, the cleanse, how much he has. It frees you up to deal with so much play, like many plays that would normally punish you, because he's got basically the double cleanse, right? He's got the Divine Shield that removes all built stuns, and you have the cleanse, and it's we're seeing that Uther is a more forgiving support to have if you do end up getting caught. So seeing him prioritize is not too shocking. Now we have Kinguin's pick, where they still need their support, they still need their last damage. Man, I don't know if I would like Miranda here. It's just too little damage, pre-16. But if you go Tyrande support here, you also have a super unkillable combo. They're going to lock in Sylvanas. That's good. I like the Sylvanas Malf here.
Well, the Malfurion you were dead on with, having that Malfurion with that double warrior there as well, as it said, full tranquility, full hit points, a lot of big value out of it. Sylvanas was kind of the last of the ranged mages. I mean, if it wasn't going to be her, it's going to be Falstad. It almost feels like at this point. Everyone else has just kind of been taken on the block. No prioritization on Tassadar anywhere, though. Though we do got the last pick here for Puszek. Would a Tassadar even do anything for them there?
I don't think Tass is right here because.
No.
Okay, I like the Falstad. I like Tass is just too much sustain damage, and this is not a comp you're going to be able to sustain now. Double Warrior Malf is going to outlive you, but getting burst is what would be needed here to secure kills. You catch the Malfurion out, you catch the Nazebo out, you catch Sylvanas out, and you burst them out. Even Leoric you can burst down with a Hinterland's Blast. So, I like this. I like the pickup for Falstad here from Puszek.
All right, so the Falstad, the Vala, the two big things that I see right there is both of them can go into big auto attack builds. We don't have any blinds to deal with from Kinguin. They got a few roots, a little bit of damage there from Sylvanas, but the double tank in the front line is going to have to lead those charges for Kinguin, and that's where Vala and a Q build or an auto attack build will come in handy. It's where Falstad with Secret Weapon, Hammer Time, Giant Slayer, Seasoned Marksman, big value could be wrought out of that one as well. If I had to guess though, Falstad probably wants to prioritize a barrel roll, at least at level 1 for the extra range, because having a Leoric in your face, having a Mirrodin in your face, you're going to be setting yourself up for a lot of roots, zombie walls. You're going to want to try to distance yourself out of that one.
Yeah, it's going to have to be very safe play from him. I want to see where they want to go with their talents. It's always everyone has their own Falstad build, so it's cool to see how that plays out. But let's go ahead and give a quick shout out to our sponsors, Hitbox for putting on the bench, and of course SteelSeries for swagging it out. We do have a giveaway, which I closed. I have it open. We are giving away 2 SteelSeries Sensei Raws today, as well as 1 SteelSeries QCK. That is a mouse and mouse pad giveaway. All you have to do is tweet at us with your Hitbox username and use the hashtag Stormgrounds, and you will be entered in the giveaway to win. The awesome mouse. SteelSeries mice are awesome. I used one for the longest time. And, of course, who doesn't want a Heroes of the Storm mouse pad?
I have one of the gigantic ones, and it's absolutely amazing. So getting any kind of Heroes of the Storm mouse pad so far has just been the highest quality of stuff.
So you have one of those desk Mac things?
Yeah, I do.
Yeah, I have one of those too. Those are awesome.
They are so really nice. Cool. But the QCK is absolutely highly rated as well. So, hey, guys, get yourself some free stuff. You're watching games, you're winning stuff. Hitbox puts on some of the best events that you can actually tune into these days. So, big props to them and Stormgrounds here. Number 2. Number 1 was absolutely a blast to watch. An 8-team invitational, lots of cash to give away. Now coming into this one, whoever's crowned victor come Thursday goes home with 1,000, I think it's 1,000 euros in their pocket. So, not a bad payout for 3 days worth of work, so to speak. And who knows, you guys show up, we have a good time, perhaps could even lead us into Stormgrounds number 3 EU as well.
Well, we're getting everyone into the lobby. Almost everyone has readied up here, Sean. Kinguin versus Puszek, best of 3. Winner goes on to play Virtus Pro.
Yep.
In a later day of play. I don't know if we actually got confirmation if that's being played or not today.
So the current word right now is that on our schedule we have 3 games listed today, but unfortunately this will be our last best of 3 today. We will actually be covering tomorrow's games on Tuesday, all 3 of them, and then we will actually have the last match of today on Wednesday, and then we'll have, of course, our big setup there for Thursday for the grand finals of the winner of Virtus Pro versus the winner of this, and of course the winners of tomorrow and their face-off as well. So I do believe that is the case right now. Nobody seems to be correcting us on the admin side of things, so it does sound like that is it. And it looks like, at least a little bit, Tomb of the Spider Queen is almost ready to go.
If we are loading in now, Sean, super excited to cast this game because we have 2 great teams facing off, and the compositions aren't weird. They're not weird this time.
They're definitely a little more standard, but I do notice that the EU teams, they don't really seem to favor a huge amount of melees. I mean, the Zeratul didn't even go picked in the first, got a second round ban, but no hint of Kerrigan, especially on a small map like this. Initiation is kind of her jam. There's no Butcher. It's interesting that they don't favor those heroes, where we see a lot of those in NA side of things.
We have loaded into the game, Sean. Let's go ahead and introduce teams on the left-hand side of the map. On the blue trucks, it is going to be Puszek team. We have Kregu, Riesfu, Quebec, Gotar, and Uberim. Man, I know there's some fans out there who's like, what did you just say? None of those things are right. Then on the right-hand side of the map, it is going to be Kinguin, Nurok, Snow, Gerdum Herd, Nebzi, and it's going to be Invidium on that Sylvanas.
All right, Kinguin and Puszek, definitely both teams of repute at this point. Taking a look at level 1 talents, I do see Falstad with that Seasoned Marksman, so I am thinking that he is going to be a bit more into the Secret Weapon at 7, and then Giant Killer at 13.
We do see that Malfurion did end up taking up that scouting drone, which it's kind of hit or miss whenever it gets picked. Will it be used properly in this game? We do see some light damage going on. The Joanna Zombie Wall does go out. They're going to be shoving this away as hard as they possibly can. No Real kills going on. Yeah, good blizzard right there, landing on Leoric. He is going to Wraith Walk out of there and take him out half damage. We'll have to keep an eye on the rotations, but it will be an auto attack build coming out from Vala again. You know, I thought that was just a weird thing that one team was doing, but is auto attack build the new rage in EU?
It's just that there's a lot of big targets. You know, double tanks are susceptible to, these big auto attack builds. I mean, seasoned marksman for the Falstead. Highly suspect we are going to see the giant killers from both of these guys at 13 with the Vala, with that Falstead as well. Because if you can, set up for the slows, for the stuns, they got Johanna, they got Jaina. You bring in the team, you blizzard them, and that's going to leave us probably with a Rain of Vengeance, not a Mighty Gust, the Hinterlands Blast, and that will lead a lot to be desired there for those auto attack builds. So it looks like Manticore at 4, Searing Arrows at 7. It can do huge numbers if you can eliminate the Mirrodin or that Leoric out of the fight. You are in a huge advantage.
Yeah, you're right. You can do a lot. Your nice pickup though coming from Mirrodin. We do get that reverberation, where Thunderclap reduces attack speed by 50%. For 3 seconds, so he'll be utilizing that, especially since we saw Seasoned Marksman on Falstad. That's 2 auto attack heavy heroes that are going to be getting attack speed slowed.
Very likely, yeah. And who's can Mirrodin get the imposing presence? I'm pretty sure he can.
Yes.
Yeah, it's almost like a must at this point for that level 16.
Yeah, definitely against this composition. But when they do see the players are ready, we should be getting that unpause soon, and get back into this action. Countdown has begun. There we go. We are going into the game, Sean.
Leoric can get it there as well, so I'm curious to see if he would actually give up a little bit of that damage to go for the imposing as well.
I think we'll have to see how much damage Vala and Falson are doing later on, but if it's to the point where Nebsy and Mirrodin are getting really low, then definitely a choice for these guys to pick up. Now we do see Nebsy taking some light damage here, but he's so tanky. Using that Drain Hope, when you're taking that damage, it negates a large portion of it.
It's great for chasing. It's much better for defense as well, because if you want to follow Nebsy there, not only are you going to be losing the hit points, but you're almost doing no damage to him at that point.
Yeah, it's so much negation, and especially with Malfurion keeping him alive, the CCs. It's just he's such a strong anti-damage here, I guess. He just got so much sustain for himself. He's also a great laner, too. And we're not listing any too hard engages right now. Neither team having the most aggressive compositions. If they can catch someone out of position with that Jaina, they can burst someone down. Now, Stormbolt does end up missing there from Nurek, not able to get that counter-engage. Nice zombie while they're coming from Snow, but of course it's Joanna in it, so just one condemn and, out of there. Easy peasy.
Something I've been noticing there from Chubek is that he has been roaming with the Joanna, with the Jaina, back and forth. Top lane, middle lane, top lane, middle lane. He's trying to get as many season marking stacks as he can.
Yeah, he's already up to bonus 7 damage, but we do see the stun coming out. Chubek going to barrel roll out of there. The turn on the Murok's happening. He gets the Dwarf Toss out of there. Nebsy at the front line, of course, taking almost no damage, and he doesn't even have the Wraith Walk out. Neither team really having that kill potential right now. They have to catch someone. I think the only way that Kinguin's Puszek's gonna get a kill is if they catch Snow out of position, and just blow up Nazebo really hard.
Has to be able to blow up on the Nazebo or the Sylvanas. I mean, Nazebo has no escape mechanism. Sylvanas has a little bit of a more delayed one. So if you can actually, try to burst them out of that or stun her out of the opportunity to kind of go into the Wraith Walk, these pauses, holy, then yeah, those kind of do feel like the better, squishier targets. Trying to get the Malfurion, especially past level 13, is going to be absolutely excruciating to do, especially once he gets that Ice Block kicking in.
Yeah, we'll have to see. If they're able to secure those kills, you have 2 Ice Block potentials here for that team. Of course, you can get on the Zubo as well. Standard build coming out from Sylvanas. We're seeing the Vampiric Assault and, of course, the Manticore. I mean, this is a really interesting game so far. I can't wait to see it play out, if we can get to that point.
Well, there's nothing really good for an auto attack build at level 4 other than Vampiric Assault, and it's not something you get to see a lot of. I mean, at this point, Gathering Power might have actually been a little bit better, that or Charged Up, especially if they are going for, those big single target builds. Charged Up actually might have been the better of it here. But if he's going to be taking Vampiric, especially if he's roaming, lane to lane to lane to lane, he's just trying to become a self-sustaining Falstead to try to keep the pressure off of Uther in that regard. And any kind of duel that he wants to set up, the Vampiric, technically will do better for him in a 1v1 scenario. But it had to have been that or charged up. I wouldn't have expected to see a gathering power from him.
Yeah, it's just not the way he's played at the moment. We'll have to see where they want to go with how they want to build their. This is such a curious. This is so different to me that I'm really excited to see how it's going to play out. The game is resuming right now, Sean.
Cool.
We'll have to see if how their aggression is going to continue. Narok looking to get that engage onto Falstad, and of course he's playing very, very safe. Staying max distance. Now good dwarf toss there from Narok. Not going to take any damage from that blizzard. And both teams trying to play aggressive, but both teams also being really good at their positioning here. But the root does go down onto Falstad. No Stormbolt to follow up.
There's something to be said, when you do go these auto attack builds though, it's really hard to kind of get big value early. I mean, without those multi-shots, right, you're not doing big AoE damage, you can't really catch anyone. And now, with the seasoned marksman, you're going to be focusing on the stacking game for Falstead. So it's a little bit like the Azmodan comps. You're not going to see big aggression early unless you just really miss playing. So it's not really too much of a surprise we don't have a first blood yet.
Yeah, we'll keep an eye on that. Both teams just farming up their gems right now. Both teams have enough for a full turn in, Sean. And we're trying to get a turn in here on the bottom side of the map for Kinguin. They do end up getting most of theirs in. They're 18 off for that turn in. We'll have to see if Narok and Malfurion can get their turn in here. Nice collapse on the Nebzi, but he's not going to go down. Oh, but at the same time in the bottom lane, there will be a 1-for-1 trade. Sylvanas for Vala, having a little trade out there, and Venom able to secure the kill onto Vala. Gems were picked up for both sides.
So there's no lack of a gem, but now, of course, you do have to be soaking those lanes, especially if one opponent shows up, the other basically has to there as well. That's actually very impressive from Vala, if she was able to kind of take that, because she not only has that auto attack build, no Q, no multi-shot there to try to punish the Sylvanas, but every time that I saw her on camera, she was losing those fights. So able to trade out 1-for-1, not too shabby at the end of it.
Yeah, it's really well done there. When you hear Vala 1v1 and you think it's going to be Hungry Air, but being able to pull it off with the auto attacks, really well done there. Now the Web Weavers are spawning here for Team Kinguin as they're going to be shoving in all three of their lanes. Doing a good job of maintaining that soak. Level 7 pounds have been taking a lot of damage. Ooh, good zombie wall coming up from Snow, but they're not going to be able to secure that kill onto Uberim. Get Terra there, of course, able to help disengage as well. But really close there.
Yeah, but we do got the Web Weavers out there, and Uberim, as you said, it was a really good zombie wall. It just kind of forced the engage there from Vala, but she will live to fight another day, at least for now. I'm relatively certain we see Secret Weapon there for Chubek, but I'm just keeping an eye out to see if it's actually Boomerang instead. And, do we have the unstable? That's unstable, right? On Sylvanas right there?
Yeah, that's unstable poison. It is Secret Weapon on Falstad. They are going to end up securing that kill on Sylvanas. She end up dying as well. And the talent's looking pretty normal so far. I like unstable poison on Sylvanas.
The wave clear potential is going to be insane.
Yeah, and you don't really need Haunting Wave against this composition. It's you use Haunting Wave to get away from hard engage. This isn't really a super hard engage composition. It's a poke down the front line composition. So we do see Goter trying to get that turn in. He does end up securing it. Nice stuns from his team to stop that, and it will be the first Red Weaver spawning for Puszek.
Alright, so the red was defended, now it's going to be blue's time. 9-9 for the levels, going back and forth, and relatively tied there. And basically the experience and the gems, the turn-ins, the kills, it's definitely a neck-and-neck game. But once, level 10, once level 13 comes out, the auto-attack builds are really going to start getting scary from Puszek. We don't have a big build-up from Kinguin in order for any kind of big snowball leads.
Well, there goes the death of Vala, but a nice turnaround onto Malfurion, and Nurok barely going to live there. Malfurion, or Murden being so very tanky. All of these trades, man, they've been 1-for-1. They have to overextend to secure a kill, and then it just gets turned around. But heroics have been taken here by both teams. On the end of Puszek, we have Water Elemental, Rain of Vengeance, Blessed Shield, Hinterland's Blast. Still nothing on Uther, should be that Divine Shield. And for Kinguin, it's Gargantuan, Avatar, Tranquility, March of the Black King, and Wailing Arrow. But at the same time, here comes Zurich going in for a Storm Toss there. Does end up getting the stun. Nebzi going for the chase on to Goter. He's trying to get out of there. No silence just yet from Invidium, and it does not look like they're willing to force this fight completely.
March is really interesting as a bruiser there, but we're going to have to combo it with some good zombie walls, some good roots. Perhaps as well, Wailing Arrow, so you can't actually escape it. Very curious to see what kind of applications will come about.
Yeah, I think this is a decent composition to go March of the Black King with. Like you said, you point out all of those crowd controls that can keep people in place. Of course, Avatar Stunlock as well, going to help out a lot. We'll have to see how much value we can get out of that March of the Black King. But another turn trying to get down here. Nurek does end up getting blind and stunned. He's getting chain stunned right now. Doesn't get the Dwarf Toss, and that's going to be a free Murd. And Water Elemental was used there at the last second. Going to be slowing out Nebsy. The Blizzard Fall Up helping out a lot. The King Leoric getting pretty low, but hasn't used that Wraithwalk yet. He is going to be just fine.
Well, not only a great takedown there on top of the Mirrodin, but also forcing back Nubsy and crew as well. I mean, the map control essentially just flipped right there. Chubek's really kind of showing the strength of his auto attack there as well.
That's going to be a lot of gems falling for Falstad there, and taking a look here. I don't see anything too crazy coming out from any of these challengers besides the auto attack stuff. Everything's looking pretty normal as we're getting closer to level 13, and both teams trying to get these gem turn-ins here, 38 to 22. Nebsy and Invidium trying to get theirs in, but Gotair getting zoned out by the zombie wall here, and this might be enough time. But there goes the Hungering Arrow. It's going to interrupt them. A good job from Uberim, but now they're sacrificing that 3-lane soak as Balfurion is still in the top lane, and everyone seems to be giving up the turn-in and going back lanes.
Well, we got 38 gems to 22, at least by my last count, and that loss of gems on Falstad kind of put the whole plan from Puszek a little bit behind, because they were looking for that turn-in. But as you said, that soak top, it's still pretty much neck and neck for experience.
Well, we do get that turn-in from Nebsy there, and that will be the Web Weaver spawning here for Kinguin, as they are getting closer to 13. Falstad did almost end up going down there. You always, even though Envenom did get nerfed, and we don't see them play as much, you always have to just keep that in your calculations for keeping yourself alive. And he barely was able to get to that well, just save his life. Now here comes the Web Reavers pushing down these lanes. Let's see how much damage can be done.
All right, so big push definitely in the works here from Kinguin. Level 13 on the horizon there as well. As I said, past 10, past 13, these builds are going to start solidifying and looking a little bit more terrifying as they go back and forth. I'd expect to see a big march coming. Like, if there's going to be a big defense from Puszek in the lane, this could easily set up for a big bully.
Well, huge Interlights Blast going to take out Sylvanas. The Stormbolt does connect with Kraku, but Jaina going to get away there at the last seconds. That's the kind of engages you need to see. The picks that need to happen here for Puszek to take down this double warrior roster is just sniping the backline, catching them off guard and getting them really low. Now it's going to be bottom fort falling here for Puszek. Mid fort still stands as well as top fort still has its wall up as well. So that's 13 is taken here. We do see the double giant killer, of course, for that extra damage, and their only focus as well on Falstad is taking down this front line.
Yep, as I said, the double warrior comps do lead you into these nice auto attack builds, and now with that double giant killer, it still probably is going to be blood for blood from Vala at 16, but if I had to guess, it's going to be Hammer Time at 16 for Falstad. Get that extra little stun in there.
Well, we do see that the turn-ins are being covered pretty well here by Kinguin, making sure Puszek doesn't get a second turn-in for themselves. We're going to zone this out as well as they can. Now Nebsy coming up from above as Leoric there. Does go in and get stunned out immediately, taking some decent damage. Nurek gets hit by the Blizzard. He does get the Wraithwalk, but that is going to be the death of King Leoric. And holy, the auto attack damage against these warriors is straight up dumpstering the front line for Kinguin.
Yep. Especially, Leoric has a lot of tools under his belt for heals and for disengages, but still, with that Wraithwalk, you leave yourself very vulnerable to some big auto attacks.
The Hidden Lens Blast does connect with Malfurion, not going to be able to secure that kill. Uther's going to fall there for Puszek as well, doing the best he can in that Ghost form to keep himself alive. Falstad's going to fall as well, and now Kinguin is turning this fight around. Just a little bit of an overextension there for Puszek, and they got punished for it really bad.
It's something to be said for Leoric, man. I think you said it last game. Obnoxiously short death timer at the end of it all. So Nebsy coming back, like sure they killed him off, but he was a big instrument in that fight.
Yeah, he did a lot there. He got picked off and then suddenly he's back, right? It's just, it's something you have to, like, you're used to the Uther Ghost being there, and then you're like timing it. It's like, okay, he's going to go down soon, and that means we can get kills through the heal, or when the heals are gone. But then it's just like Leoric's like, Leoric puts you on a timer, like, we either need to get more kills or get out before he's alive, and that didn't end up happening, and they got punished for it. Level 16 on the verge here for Team Kinguin, as they are trying to secure another turn in here in the top. They do get delayed by the Joanna, and yeah.
So something tells me that the level 13 talent for Uther is not Holy Shot. So he has Blessed Champion. So every time he heals somebody, his next auto attacks will heal, AoE heal his allies in a little bit of a radius there. But, you know, the double giant killers have definitely been showing work. It's curious that we actually have the Burning Rage there on Johanna. I wouldn't have expected that out of her.
We do see the double imposing picked up, though, as you pointed out earlier, Sean. On both Leoric and Muradin. So, this is like there was that window of time, like from 13 to 16, where you have a pretty big advantage with this giant killer style composition going in. Like we saw how fast Nebsy melted, we saw how fast Muradin melted, but now when you're attacking 50% slower, that it might not be the same case next fight, and hopefully Puszek realizes that before the next engagement and tries to compensate for it elsewhere.
They're going to have to really just be very careful on who their big targets are. If they need to have like absolute confidence they can take down one of these warriors so they can suffer through that imposing and then just eliminate it out. Nebsy's probably going to be their big target on that one, simply because Muradin just is a little bit too hard to take down, I think, in the avatar form.
And we do have 16 on the verge here for Puszek. Let's see what talents they do end up wanting to go with. They are starting to pressure this bottom keep as the Web Reaver is still really, really healthy here. Kinguin doing a lot with this push. Now it is going to be Blessed Hammer on Joanna. It will be Benediction. Blood for Blood, like you called, on Vala. Northern Exposure for the extra damage burst. And it will be Hammer Time on Falstad. Good predictions there.
Yeah, I've played a lot of auto attack Falstad in my time, for sure. But, it just, so far, the theme of today is try to kill out those double tanks. And so far, I'm not entirely too sure Puszek has kind of accomplished that goal to a high degree.
Big engagement coming down, Sean. Rain of Vengeance does end up connecting with that front line. Hinterland's Blast does a lot, but not enough to secure the kill through Malfurion Tranquility. When you have that super tanky front line like you pointed out earlier, it's just too much. Falstad's going to fall as well, and this could potentially be a full wipe on the end of Puszek. A beautiful cleanse coming out there from Uther, keeping Preku alive, and that will 100% be this keep. Doesn't look like they want to push in the core. They had 30-second time frame where they could have pushed in versus Uther Jaina, but they decided to end up backing out.
So yeah, level 13 came in. Puszek definitely showed a lot of life, but as soon as 16 came around, they just got shut down. That was absolutely disgusting from Team Kinguin. How many gems they got in their pockets? Not enough for a turn-in, but is this a boss, you think, Zoya?
Yes, they're definitely doing boss, and they are getting it for free. They have 3 members down, just about to come up. They might be able to sneak a turn-in here, as Jaina does have 28 on her, more than enough for that turn-in, and yeah, that's going to go in for free. So they did end up getting the boss, but this is what Puszek needed. They get a turn-in, and hopefully they can snowball this to decrease that experience lead that Kinguin has.
So going back to draft, you were mentioning, Malfurion double tanks on your team. You get a huge amount of value out of that Tranquility. And my counterpoint was they needed to take Malfurion away for Puszek so that they can not only deny it, but they can deal with that level of distributed damage. Uther is not doing very well with this level of damage at all. I'm not entirely too sure that that Divine Shield is really getting a huge amount of value out of it. But hopefully next time Puszek will I don't want to say they probably knew that this was coming, but Team Kinguin, like as soon as they got that Malfurion, I think they were just laughing all the way to the beginning of the game.
Yeah, Malfurion is just there's not enough burst damage coming unless you land the perfect Jaina Hinterland's Blast combo. It's like even on the front line though, it's so hard to secure that kill through the Malfurion when they get these defensive talents taken. You have to get to the back line, but Sylvanas and Nazeebo are playing very, very safe. And we do see the stun does go out onto Gotair. He's getting really low here. It doesn't look like there's going to be a force fight just yet. Nurak does mount up, gets dismounted by the blind, and it looks like he might try and commit to this fight. There goes the Dwarf Toss. He misses the Storm Bolt here. Snow comes up from the side, does get a zombie while the zone out Ubery, and at the same time Gotair is getting really low. There's a Tranquility pop. That's going to be the death of Sylvanas. That's exactly what they need to do. There comes the Shocking On. It does end up connecting with Nebsy, but just not enough damage to secure that kill. It looks like they could try and turn this back around as most of the damage has come out from this composition here. The root does go out, Nebsy's getting really low. Dids gets stunned out. The cleanse comes out the last second, but there's March to the Black King. Not going to be enough to get any kills there. Gotair did end up getting really low. That's going to be 2 dead here for Kinguin. They still have a level and a half lead, and Nebsy is getting health back quickly.
It feels like Kinguin just kind of really bungled that fight. I mean, Sylvanas was way too far from the Malfurion. Couldn't get off any kind of heals. Wasn't part of the Tranquility whatsoever. And now, of course, Nebsy down. Sure, he'll be back up soon, but that's a lot of map pressure at this late game. That's a big opportunity for Puszek to get huge amounts of experience.
Yeah, and they're trying to do the best they can right now, but this is almost level 20 here for Kinguin. We'll have to see what heroics that they end up wanting to take, or not heroics, Stormtowns they end up wanting to take, as they are about to take this Night Camp. That should get them very, very close to 20, and yeah, this is just such a huge lead for them to have right now, despite that loss. They have a 1-level lead. They did hit 20. It's going to be rewind on Muradin. Malfurion with the Storm Shield, making that front line in the burst healing even better for the team. Double both of the Storm, making Sylvanas and Nazebo harder to kill themselves. And, of course, that Hardened Shield coming out from Leoric.
Yeah, not only will Leoric be able to drain all of his, normal hit points, but he's taking 75% less damage doing it. Could you imagine at, a sliver of health that he pops that, gets off a march, and that drain hope? He's just back to full health if you can't take him down.
Yeah, it's such a scary competition right now with those Storm talents. Like, how do you get a kill now without catching someone completely out of position? You have to blow someone up. Keep in mind, Malfurion didn't get cleansed, so the damn, that option is not there. When someone gets stunned, if they do end up in the Rain of Vengeance, they're going to be stuck in it until it's over.
Yeah, still, that's the biggest stun threat. If Uther wants to get off any kind of stuns, you gotta walk through it, right up to that front line. Other than that, it's what, Johanna and the Condemned, you don't really cleanse that at all. So, not going for that cleanse, I think, was absolutely fine. The extended duration on the regrowth just goes a long way for, again, a lot of these tanks. But, ooh, big engages.
Yep, doing really good poking so far. This Nazebo showing that, when you get that Leaping Spiders at 16, the power of his poke, and, Uther's having a little bit of trouble dealing with it. They're not lining up perfectly for the Holy Radiance, but the stun goes out on the Zebo. He does end up holding out it. There's a Hindrance Blast, but only hits Malfurion. A big Tranquility Storm Shield, keeping everyone alive. Muradin pops that Avatar, and he is full HP. So much was used in that engagement for Puszek, and no one died. Everyone seems to be really healthy right now. This is guaranteed going to be keep here for Kinguin, and it falls right now.
Yeah, but it's a big thing for Puszek. Like, nobody going down on their side is fine, but losing out that keep, even if they could get a few kills going back and forth, if they could have got that keep up, it would have went a long way.
Yeah, this is just a 1-level lead now. We do have those Storm Talents taken here by Puszek. It's going to be Nexus Frenzy on both Falstad and Mala, both of the Storm on Jaina. It's going to be Indestructible on Joanna, and it should be Redemption on Uther, but there is an argument for the upgraded Divine Shield as well. We'll just see if what he wants to end up blocking in.
I'm not at all surprised that Nexus Frenzy came out for the Falstad. At this point, Epic Mount doesn't really get you a lot of value, and you wouldn't upgrade your laser on this comp. But no bolt on Valo could be very dangerous.
Yeah. Well, you see stuns go down onto Muradin. He's taking a lot of damage. Big Condemned. There is the Rain of Vengeance, but it gets Dwarf tossed out of that invulnerability frame, helping out so much there. Puszek low in the background. Divine Shield goes down on the Gianna. She does have the Indestructible, and that is going to be a lot of damage. And then we do see Nebsy with the root going on the Kraku. Jaina's going to end up falling to that double warrior composition here, but the damage is at the front line. Snow and Indium gets the bolt forward. Does not connect with that zombie wall. That's going to be a dead Jaina for 60 seconds, though. There's a boss up. I believe they are just short of a turn-in on their own end. They just need to get a few more gems. They can get a full turn-in and a boss. And with 3 Web Weavers pushing down the lanes for Kinguin, as well as a boss, that might be enough to secure checkmate.
Yeah, with 2 keeps down, a boss into the top is almost at this point a guaranteed keep, but the 3 Web Weavers will put too much pressure on core, it feels like. Unless Puszek somehow gets like a 5-man team wipe at that boss, this is probably going to be GG right here.
Well, I do not end up wanting to take that boss gesture. They end up going for just the turn-in itself. But with mid and bottom already fully pushed in, those Web Reavers are basically threatening core right when they spawn. And it looks like with the 5-man push here, Jaina's going to be up in time for it. But with all 5 members of Kinguin here in the top, that is going to force them to be up there as well. They can't defend with the Web Reavers on core.
So right now we don't have that level 20 talent from Uther, but that's very indicative that it is going to be the Redemption coming in. So you will have that Resurrection ready to go, which will make this, you got to kill him twice, just like Nebsy will probably have to just kill him twice, especially if he goes down early. But man, this push is just devastating.
They have the big big flank from Bala. Does secure the kill onto Sylvanas. Divine Shield comes out at the last second. And Puszek's doing an insane job with this fight. But it's going to be a 1-for-1 trade, and now Uther is falling. He did end up taking that Redemption, and he will be back in the fight soon. Sylvanas is dead for another 50 seconds. Leoric looks like he's about to fall. Nexus Frenzy not able to secure that kill just yet. But the core is going down, Jester. 60% right now. Both Web Weavers are being cleaned up, and they will end up going down. But now this is what Kinguin was looking for. They're going to dive in. They're going straight for that fight. Roos is going to die. It's going to be the death of Uther. Goterra is getting low as well, and they're just focusing the core at this point. Nurek and Nebsy. Malfurion does end up getting zoned out. Snow's still alive, and that's going to be game number 1 going over to Team Kinguin.
Yeah, those keeps down was basically the bane of it. It was a good fight by the end of it. Puszek, kill for kill, tit for tat at the same time. 10 kills, 13 by the end of it all. I mean, it really was hard to get those bigger advantages, but it came down to those dead keeps by the end of it. 50%, and you still got 4 people up, especially with Nebsy at the end of it as well, who could, very likely just cheat 20 seconds, 25 seconds off of his death timer by the end of it. Any kind of big prolonged engage at that core was basically a sealed deal for Kinguin. So, yeah, good win by the end of it. Very, very hard fought by the end of it as well. But, this is where the map choice comes in, and this is where it's going to have to favor for a 1-1 going forward. Otherwise, it'll be a 2-0, and we're going to be running for the day, and nobody wants that, Zoya.
Yeah, no, we definitely want this to go to game 3. I would like, I'm not sold on the auto attack builds from either Vala or Falstad. I just feel against
the lack of the bolts, I think, was the big downside there from Vala.
Yeah,
I think
no
you really
bolt.
needed that.
No bolt definitely hurts it, and then when it's against warriors that can get imposing, as well as Ermerdin, who's got the reverberation at 1, it's just I don't know if the damage is there. There were so many situations where sure they were able to combo someone in the back line, but the warriors just lived through so much, and especially with that Malfurion here. So either banning out the Malfurion against a double warrior, or trying out a different composition. I just wasn't sold on the auto attack.
I really do think that denying out the Malfurion from the double tanks was really the way to go. And, if it was or wasn't, doesn't matter. The Malfurion got huge value with his double warriors for that tranquility. And you are right. The imposing does kind of put a limit on the auto attack builds. It's really between 10, 13, and before 16. You got to get the maximum value out of it. You got to try to get that snowball, because even with that imposing, if you're a level or 2 ahead, you can still make it work simply because of the level differences and the auto attack differences, especially on how well you've been stacking your season. But yeah, we just couldn't get those advantages. It was a very hard fought, very even game to the end of it, and coming into it at level 16 was the disadvantage for the auto attackers. So that is not the position you want to be in.
Yeah, well, we'll figure out what the game plan is going into game number 2, guys. You're tuning into Stormgrounds number 2, powered by Hitbox, with our sponsor SteelSeries, with all that free, with all those giveaways we are doing. If you're interested in trying to get one of those, just make sure you tweet at us with your Hitbox username. Use the hashtag Stormgrounds, and you'll have a chance to win today 2 SteelSeries Sensei's rods or a SteelSeries QCK mouse and mouse pad, respectively. But we're going to go a quick break, guys. When we get back, we'll be in game number 2 of Kinguin versus Puszek. Stay tuned.